ultimately, any change that you want to make in life is a process, is not just a thought. And it is this process that is extremely, extremely important. You're born with the power of discrimination, you're born with the power of communication, you're born with the power of knowing when to laugh, when to cry. All of this is winning traits.
Someone is feeling stuck or uninspired, what would you suggest as a first step to reconnect with their inner power?
I sincerely believe that every one of us needs to create some me time. Just shut the whole world, shut your WhatsApp, shut your social media. Just take some time off and spend it with yourself. Your thoughts will give you the action that you need to take. The action will give you the results that you want. Fear is normal. Fearless is perhaps to be bordering on the foolishness. Fearlessness is about having the confidence that, look, I know I'm walking, I'm going to trip and fall, but I have the confidence to get up and walk again.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Business Networking with Vipul Bondal. I have a very, very special guest today, somebody I have known for many years, and I really respect and admire this person ever since I have met him almost 30 years ago. I'm not sure if he'll remember having met me then, but I'll try and see during the course of the conversation if he does remember meeting me then. So my guest today is Ramkumar Seshu. Ramkumar Seshu is a transformative mentor, author and advocate for mindful living, inspiring individuals to unlock their potential with purpose and joy. What that means, we'll ask him later today. He is the author of a life-changing framework called Born to Win process, blending ancient wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads with modern principles of conscious living. He is committed to creating a mindful society by offering pro bono programs to schools and NGOs, making empowerment inclusive. So it's not only business organizations, but also schools and NGOs. He has so far impacted over 200,000 entrepreneurs and professionals who have experienced profound transformation under his guidance. And this is not from several sectors like IT, manufacturing, retail, MSME, and BFSI. He has partnered with large leading organizations across India to foster mindful leadership and sustainable growth. His program is anchored in that I can, you can, we can philosophy and the utter and the spiritual essence of Aham Brahmasmi, promoting conscious awareness and self-realization. His vision for the future is to create 1 million conscious entrepreneurs by helping them align with their inner Shakti. Prior to this, Ram was in advertising. He was with FCB, Ulka, and MAA from 1985 to around 2003. And he started Born to Win in 2003. So he's been practicing in this field for the last more than 2 decades. Welcome, Ram. It's a pleasure and privilege to have you on Business Networking.
Namaskar, Vipul, and a warm hello to the audience wherever you are in the world today. It's indeed a joy and a pleasure to be here with you, Vipul. Of course, I remember our meeting, which took place, if I'm not wrong, when you used to work for Corporate Voice, which was
That's
part
right.
of the
That's right.
MA group.
Right.
And I used to head the MA group interests in the West
Correct.
India at that time in Mumbai.
That's right. That's right. That's
Very impressed with your own growth, Vipul. I think it's been fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's begin today with trying to understand this whole concept of Shakti. It's not something that everybody understands. Although we know we've heard of the word Shakti, but I don't think we understand the concept the way you have defined it. I had a small interaction with you, so I obviously tried to understand what it is. But I think it's important for the larger audience to know what Shakti is all about, and also if you can tell us how it is rooted in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and so on. So, over to you for that.
Wonderful. So, first of all, let's understand this whole concept of Shakti. Shakti is primarily the energy. Okay. And in our Indic scriptures, we have always given importance to the feminine form of energy, and we've called it Shakti. Everybody has this particular energy. There's a very interesting story. We've all been, we all understand Dasara. We all celebrate the festival of Dasara.
That's right.
And when Mahishasura, was a demonic force, was ruling the earth, at that point of time, all the devas contributed their Shakti to Mother Durga, and made sure that Mother Durga was empowered with that Shakti to fight Mahishasura, which is why in South India, for instance, we do the doll festival, where all the devas are, without their Shaktis for those 9 days, when that celebrated fight with the demonic forces took place. So Shakti as a concept is very intrinsic to our Indic thought, our Indic philosophy, our Indic way of life. There's another very interesting angle to Shakti. Shakti is also Maya. So what happens with Maya is that Maya can come in between you and who you are, which is why there is this constant quest that we each have to discover who am I.
Right.
Till you discover who you really are, and then start working on that, you're kind of lost in this world.
Right.
Now, there are there are 3 very interesting dimensions to Shakti that we all need to understand and know. One is called the Avarana Shakti, which is the wheel of ignorance, and the other is called the Vikshepa Shakti, which is the power of projection. Now, both of these ensure that each one of us, Vipul, is stuck in a trap. And the trap that we are stuck in is we're all the time trying to project to the world a certain aspect of ourselves. Avarana Shakti will force you perhaps to be someone who you think the world wants you to be. Vikshepa Shakti makes sure that you're all the time trying to fit in with what the world wants from you.
Right.
That is when you want the Viveka Shakti to come in, which is the power of discrimination.
Right.
And help you understand that both these are not who you are, not who you think the world wants you to be, or not what you want the world to think you are.
Right.
And that, when you understand this and realize this is who I really am, this is me, that is the Shakti that you need to bring to the fore. This power of discrimination, this viveka, which is required to help you understand who you really are. Who am I? As Ramana Maharshi constantly kept asking people the same question, who am I? And it is this quest that is a beautiful journey after that, once you start discovering for yourself as to who am I.
Fantastic. And you've then created out of this whole process called Born to Win. Am I right? I mean,
yes.
And you actually made it from a concept into something that you can practice in your daily work and personal lives.
Absolutely.
So if you can tell us a little bit about that, because I mean, conceptually what you're saying is something we can understand, but then how do you apply it? I think application of that is the critical part, and that's where your Born to Win comes in.
Sure. So what happens is that once you understood who am I, that when I was going through this process of discovering who am I, and this is a process of discovery that happened in the late 90s when I was in Bombay, and I needed to then figure out a way of expressing who am I? Who am I really, really? Am I come out of those two traps that are there in the
Right.
world of
Right.
being somebody that I really am not.
Right.
But once you discover that, you need a process to figure out how you can actually start expressing yourself. And there comes another 3 or 4 interesting aspects of this Shakti, this energy that you need. One is known as iccha Shakti, which is the desire to do something with this newfound personality of who you are.
Correct.
But then that desire is not enough. You need the jnana Shakti at that point of time. You need that knowledge. You need that wisdom to try and figure out, okay, what
Right.
would this mean to the world? And then you need the kriya Shakti, which is the ability to act on it. So once these 3 Shaktis align themselves, you
Right.
also need the Manas Shakti, the Shakti of the mind to stay the course. Now that you've decided this is who you are and this is what you'd like to do.
Right.
Is this possible? Of course. Is this easy? Yes. Is this difficult? Very. And that's when I realized that you need to put this into a process, because ultimately any change that you want to make in life is a process, is not just a thought. And it is this process that is extremely, extremely important.
Right.
And thus was Born to Win.
Okay.
Born to Win itself was the result of a conversation I had with a leading gynecologist in Bombay
Mhm.
who said, we're all born to win. And I said, ma'am, you're born with nothing. What are you born with? And she said, no, you're born with everything. You're born with the power of discrimination. You're born with the power of communication. You're born with the power of knowing when to laugh, when to cry. All of this is winning traits.
Right.
I said, wow, if you know that, then where did we forget it?
Okay.
So initially, Vipul, I thought this is going to be an individual based exercise.
Right.
Till I met somebody in Bangalore who said, is it, can you actually figure out a way of looking at this from a group perspective?
Mhm.
Because what can impact an individual can also impact a group of people
Okay.
working in the same domain, working in the same organization. So we started with schools, moved
Right.
to colleges, and then moved to corporates,
Okay.
taking the same process, you know, of feeling very deeply for what you want, getting that feeling to convert into a thought, getting that thought to convert into action, and therefore using that action to drive results at an individual level, purely personal, at a family level, at a team level, at an enterprise level.
Hmm.
And that was something which is a beautiful discovery for me that happened way back in 2003.
Mhm.
And since then, this process of feeling good about yourself and therefore converting that into a set of results that are desirable for you, for the enterprise, is something that
Right.
we've been living with.
Okay. And typically, you run this as a program. I mean, is it of a specific duration? What is the duration, and how often do you think, for best results, should someone, undertake this? So let's say I want to enroll for it. What is the number of times that I may have to attend, the process sessions or whatever?
First
If you
class.
can, yeah, if you can.
So, Vipul, we are from the advertising background,
Right.
right? So, advertising, communication, marketing background. And you know that there is a product or a service that you'd like to take to the market.
Right.
And one of the disciplines that we learned in thanks to advertising and marketing is that unless and until your product or service can be a great product or service, until and unless it actually satisfies a need
Right.
that the customer has. So it's never about you, it's about the customer.
Right.
We
Okay.
understood this then, right? So I brought some of those disciplines into Born to Win. I said, all right, let's start then with an enterprise and figure out what is the key result that you want to achieve this particular quarter, or this half, or this year. Once you define that, so that definition can be in a multiple ways, Vipul. Somebody comes to us and says that, we're stuck with this, in this 100, 200, 300 crore turnover. We need to break out. We need to get to 500, or we're stuck in the 500 crore turnover. We need to get to 1,000, or whatever it is. That could be one. Or, I want to enter the world market. I want to get into exports. I want to
Right.
get into new markets. Or I have a quality issue. My rejection rates are very, very high. Or it could be a simple productivity issue, that my people are not firing on all cylinders. So we help them identify what is a specific issue that they have. Okay.
Right.
Once you get that, because remember, as I said, from our advertising days, it's about the customer. It's about what they want, not about
Correct.
what you can give. Once we understand that, then what happens is that we customize one of the platforms that we use. We've got a number of platforms that we use. We've got a platform called Winning to Lead. We've got a platform called Inspire and Win. We have a platform called Winning Edge. We have a platform called Winning Teams. And
Right.
we're now coming up with a new platform called Antarprerna, which is a completely different platform altogether. So depending upon your need, one of these platforms will get customized to help you get the results that you want. Typically, Vipul, these platforms can be 4 weeks, which means we meet you once a week for about 4 weeks. It can be over 6 weeks. It can be over 6 fortnights. It can be over 6 months. It can be over a year. It can be over 3 years.
Okay.
Depending upon the kind of need that the customer has, that their people have. So these are all what we call spaced engagement platforms, Vipul.
Okay.
Typically for an entrepreneur, you need to go through a 6-week transformation exercise.
Right.
6 weeks is good enough for an entrepreneur. And at the end of 6 weeks, you can, you really, the difference is between chalk and cheese.
Okay. So it's a 6-week at the bare minimum.
That's right.
Is
That's
something
right.
that one
That's
can look at.
That's right.
And is there, I mean, how rigorous is it? I mean, that's the other thing that a lot of people would like to know. I mean, if you're saying it's a life changing or, chalk to cheese, I'm sure it's a bit rigorous, right? I mean, it's not going to be easy for somebody to undertake this.
Yes.
Would that be a good way of looking at it?
Absolutely. So the rigor comes in terms of following the process.
Right. Yeah.
It's like going to the gym, people, or it's like getting onto a diet. You will want to drop off. You say, hey, I'm not seeing any great results. Why would I want to continue with this process? I mean, why should I get up in the morning and go for a walk? It doesn't really matter to me at all.
Yeah.
And that's when you need a process guide, a process coach to be with you through this particular journey of yours for 6 weeks. And when you get on to that particular journey, you must embrace it in a joyous way, Vipul.
Right.
If it is not going to be joyous, and if it is something that you hate, saying, God, I hate this food, I hate getting up in the morning at 6 o'clock and going for a walk, then mind you, all the incentives on earth will not help you, right? You need to get into this in a very joyous way. So when I wrote Born to Win, Vipul, I gave ourselves a particular philosophy. We said we must help people help themselves.
Right.
So it's not that I'm going to do your job, Vipul. So supposing, for instance, you come as an entrepreneur to me and say that, look, I've got a great organization. I want to scale this organization. I've got whatever, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people working for me. But I think my ideas are great and I think we should get to 300 people because, we have the potential of handling X. We're doing 10 clients now. We need to get to 20 clients or 30 clients or 50 clients or 100 clients or whatever it is that you want to do. The point is, can I do it for you? I can't. So I want you to help help
Yourself.
yourself. If I can help you help yourself, then that's great. But then for you to stay the course, it must be a joyous experience.
Correct.
If it is not joyous, if it is not a happy experience,
Right.
and you hate the process of change, then you will never get on to doing what you want to do in life. So, is it difficult? Yes, it is, till you internalize the need to do this. That is why we take that 6-week program. That is why we do it over 6 fortnights or 6 months. Because we want people to embrace this change. So we give them small little, bites, small little chunks we give them to start with. And once they start enjoying it, once they start, having fun with it,
Yeah.
that is when, it starts moving into a bigger and a bigger and a bigger and a bigger and a bigger plane. That's when it becomes easy.
Right.
Once you become a part of the process, life becomes extremely easy.
It's somewhat like what we do in BNI, and you're a BNI member, so it. It's a 6-week process. As soon as you get inducted, you're
Yes,
put through a
yes,
6-week mentoring, because that's how you actually pick up the threads. Initially,
yes.
it's very difficult for people to imagine why they should get up at 7 a.m. and come there for a meeting, all dressed up in a business suit and so on. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand that. So, you were in advertising and marketing for a number of years, and and this was in the good old days when advertising was rocking and shining. Uh, if you can just walk us through your career path, I mean, and you obviously left all that. You were in fact, one of the pioneers of integrated marketing as it is known today. So, you left that and you came into this. Just walk us through that part of your life, which we haven't really touched upon till now.
Thank you so much. I mean, such warm, vivid memories of time spent there. Well, I started my life actually as a lecturer.
Okay.
I started as a lecturer in Bombay.
Okay.
There was this college called the Ismail Yusuf College in
Yes.
Jogeshwari.
Yes.
I taught for, I don't know, some 10, 12, 14 days there. I ran away because I couldn't handle the ragging of the students. Mind you, I was young myself. I was barely 20 or 21 at that time.
Okay.
Just passed out of my master's. But then, fortunately, I needed a job, so there was only one job available, and that was again as a lecturer in a college called Maharshi Dayanand College in Parel.
In Parel, yeah, okay.
81, 82, okay. And so I started teaching in Maharshi Dayanand College Parel, and I kind of liked it. This was, of course, for graduate students, so it was a little more mature, a little more easier on me.
Okay.
But I had a very good mentor there who kept pushing me, saying that, I think someone like you should be in the corporate world. And that's when I went and joined Crompton Greaves.
Right.
I was the first graduate trainee in Crompton Greaves who was not an MBA. Okay. And that was a good stint for a year in Crompton Greaves. I learned a lot about industrial marketing. I was in the market research department. And one thing led to the other. And I joined an advertising agency called Spear in Bombay.
Right.
I was in media, I was in planning, I was in strategy, and I loved advertising. I just fell in love with the way we take a client problem, understand it, etc. And that stayed with me. And then I joined Ulka, and then Ulka sent me to Hyderabad as the branch head. It was a very, very interesting experience. And then I joined MA in Ma, which was Ma Buzel.
Right.
And then in Hyderabad, and then came back to Bombay and, finally baked it. Advertising taught me a lot.
Right.
Okay? Advertising taught me that you are only as good as the connect that you've been able to create with your customer today.
Right.
You can't rest on your laurels. It's something that you need to do every day.
Right.
And it's a responsibility that you've been given. So some of those disciplines that I learned in advertising, and I'm very fortunate I interacted with some of the absolute greats in life, learned a lot from them. Dr. Varghese Kurian, Amul, Ulka helped launch a brand called Amulya with
Right.
him. We handled some great brands in Bombay for Ulka. And then, of course, Hyderabad, again, where we did some great work, uh, Coromandel Fertilizers, Bambino Vermicelli, ITC Foods, Sundrop Cooking Oil, ITC Seeds. All of these were great brands, great learning experiences. Okay. And that discipline, that rigor. I mean, from the outside world, advertising looks like, my God, it's glamorous. So many models, sashaying around here, there, everywhere. And, every day is a party. And, you guys are, wearing black shirts and gold chains and, having a great time and, drinking and smoking and, doing everything. But it's not that at all. It's a lot of hard work, Okay. And I think it's that discipline, that hard work, that rigor that helped me set up Born to Win and take it to where it is today. It's really that.
Okay. So there's a question which has come onto the community. So I'll ask that. So this
Please.
is from Sakshi Shetty. The
Okay.
question, she says, "Hi sir, if someone is feeling stuck or uninspired, what would you suggest as a first step to reconnect with their inner power?"
Sakshi Shetty, wonderful question. It happens. This is not something new, number one. Number two, you're not the first person to feel this way, or, if it's not you and you're asking this question on behalf of somebody else,
Yeah.
this is not the first time that you feel. It happens to me. Okay. There are times when I hit a blank wall. There are times when, I just don't feel like it. I mean, it's something that happens. And that is the time, Sakshi. I sincerely believe that every one of us needs to create some me time. You need to create a lot of me time at that point of time, Sakshi. You need to take time off, just shut the whole world, shut your WhatsApp, shut your social media, shut your television, shut your newspaper, shut the whole world out. Just take some time off and spend it with yourself. Whether you can do this 15 minutes a day, whether you can do it for 20 minutes a day, whether you can do it for 30 minutes a day, if you can afford, because we're all caught in the world of living. So maybe you can't take a day off, maybe you can't take 2 days off, maybe you can't take a week off. But at least try and do it for about 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Just spend time in stillness, in quietude, and reconnect with yourself. Many a time in life, Sakshi, we have zero control on what we do. Zero. Because why we need to do that becomes very important. You could be stuck in a situation where there are EMIs to be paid, where there are financial obligations, there are family obligations, there are so many other things, duties, responsibilities, etc., 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 that make you do what you do.
Right.
But in that quietude, in that stillness, that 15 minutes, that 20 minutes that you can steal in the day, if you can only focus on how to do it, then you will start getting some interesting, inspiring thoughts and answers. How can I do what I do in a different way? That then will start taking you into a very interesting direction.
Right.
Of moving away from why am I doing it? I'm stuck in this situation. To why am I doing it? Can I find joy in this situation? So the how will help you move the why from being stuck in doing this to finding joy in doing it.
Right.
That is the inspiration, Sakshi, that you can get. Spend that 10 minutes, Sakshi, 15 minutes. It's not a big time. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just shut the whole thing. Shut yourself, shut the world. Go for a walk. Walk if you can. Walking is a great time to spend with yourself. That is one way that you can get what you want. You can rediscover how and the why from a joyous perspective of what you're doing.
Fantastic, fantastic insight into what can be done. So, I'm sure as over the years you've had a lot of cases where people have seen massive transformations in their life. So, are there some cases which you can talk about where you've seen amazing changes or amazing transformations that
Yes, I
your
can,
client?
Vipul. I will not take names,
That's
unfortunately,
fine, that's
because
fine.
that
Yeah,
is, I
that's
think,
perfectly okay.
that's not really right. Uh, I'll give you two, three examples.
Sure.
Okay, one, I'll give you examples of individuals.
Right.
There was this absolutely wonderful wedding planner. Not a wedding planner. Actually, she was event manager. Okay, she was into events, and she would do everything. So the first time I met her, I asked her. I said, "Tell me, what do you do?" BNI member.
Ah,
I do anything. I said, "What do you mean you do anything?" I said, "Anything. You want me to organize a birthday party? I'll organize a birthday party." So, very good. You want me to organize a jumble sale? I'll organize a jumble sale. You want me to organize this? I'll do that. You want me to do that? I'll do that. You want me to do a corporate event? I'll do a corporate event. I said, you'll never get anywhere in life, no? If you will do everything, then what are you actually good at? People, the secret in life is mind space. If you were to only apply your mind space to a particular thing that you want to achieve in life, then you will. So when we were talking to her and I was mentoring her, we discovered that she loves weddings.
right.
Then I said, then why don't you get into wedding planning?
Right.
Today, her organization pans the globe. She's now tied up. She's moved out of Bangalore. I mean, she's still in Bangalore, but she's tied up with organized with like-minded people across the world, and she's handling weddings at scale at a global level. Very happy. And all this has happened in the last 10 years.
Right.
Okay, that's one example that I can give you. The other example that I can give you is of another friend of mine, uh, another entrepreneur. Okay, all of these people have become great friends over a period of time. Here is someone, like the question that was asked a little earlier, uh, who was in a family business and not in a very, what should I say, exciting family business.
Right.
It was a pretty staid, family business being run in the old city, and again the same thing. This whole period of discovery, saying, what is it that you can do with this business? How can you scale this business? How can you take it to the next level? And today, that person has managed to completely change the way that particular business is done from a typical old city, market kind of a situation to moving that business. He continues to work in the same place, but
Yeah.
the clients that he's servicing are today across the world. And he's become one of the most in-demand persons in that particular category. He sells industrial products and goods. And he's become
Okay.
one of the most in-demand persons from a customer perspective. Likewise, I can give you another example of an organization that we've been associated now for the last 20, 21 years. Started as a single factory. And, we've been training from their CEO, the CMO to the CTO and everybody within the organization. And today they've become an organization of scale at a global level. They're now entered into the aerospace defense sector from the automobile sector. And
Right.
they are setting benchmarks that everybody else is following. So any of these, I mean, I can talk about a very interesting public sector organization that we worked with. And we got a very, very interesting brief there saying that, as an organization, we are stuck in this particular situation. We need to come out of it. And the entire board of that public sector organization, one of the most iconic names when we were all growing up, which has hit a a bottom. Okay. We worked with that organization to completely change, the way the board was thinking. And this is the chairman, managing director, the director of finance, the director of operations at that level. And we managed to get them to completely change the way they're thinking and their way of thinking. So many examples, Vipul, that I can quote to you. Large public sector, large Indian private sector companies. I'll tell you, we worked with a financial services institution, and the group of people who we were working with were the guys who would actually go to recover, the assets that were
Right.
funded by the organization. So you can imagine they got a very, very bad name in the market because they would employ a certain type of people,
Right.
who used strong arm tactics to recover money. But
Correct.
that's the nature of that business.
Right.
So when we worked with this group of people, it was very interesting. We had to work with them in Tamil, in Telugu, in Kannada, in Hindi, in Marathi, and Punjabi, and whatever. And we said, look, why are you looking at yourself as a recovery agent? Why can't you change the way you approach your customers? With whatever intentions this guy or this lady has taken a loan from your institution. Why would you not want to change your mind? Why did you not want to change the way you look at yourself? Yes, your job, what you do, is to go and help the bank get the money back.
Right.
But how do you do it? Why can't you change your whole thing to say that, look, I am going to help this customer of ours reconstruct her or his financial, life.
Nice. Yeah.
And when they change that, they would approach their customers and say, hey, listen, by running away from the bank, by not coming to the bank, you're not helping yourself, you're not helping us.
Correct.
By me repossessing your asset, taking away your bike or your car or whatever it is not going to work.
Right.
Why don't you come back to the bank? Let's sit down, let's talk, let's see how we can actually help you reconstruct your financial life. And it worked wonders. So from an organization which was, getting to a situation where people were scared to borrow money from them because of the way some of their people use strong arm tactics to recover monies, we changed their entire way of thinking.
Right.
To say that, look, let's help you reconstruct your financial life. Okay, so this is some of the some of the interesting work that we've done over the years.
Right. So we'll take a question again from which has come onto the community. So this is from Lakshmi Rajan, and it's quite relevant, I thought, in the context of what you were just saying. So the question is, how does ancient wisdom apply to modern leadership?
Wow, fantastic. So Lakshmi, hello, thank you very much for that lovely question. You would have, Lakshmi, heard one of the most iconic shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, okay, which is Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Okay. Unfortunately, this particular shloka has been interpreted in many, many, many different ways, and some of them not really the way it ought to be interpreted. Sorry. I mean, this shloka has been sometimes told that, this is about not having a goal in life. Actually, it is not.
Yeah.
What is the shloka actually trying to tell us? Krishna tells Arjuna, at this point of time, your duty is to perform that action.
Right.
Like I told you earlier, the feelings that you have will prompt your thoughts. Your thoughts will give you the action that you need to take. The action will give you the results that you want. Yes. That's a given, correct? If today I want to get a client, then if I want to go and spend time, then the action that I need to take with that particular client, that customer of mine, right, has to be in a particular way that will give me that business.
Right.
But when I'm doing that action, Lakshmi, I'm doing that PowerPoint, I'm writing this PowerPoint, or I'm going to be making this PowerPoint. If I'm so completely obsessed with getting that business, I will do injustice to myself and to my client.
Correct.
Because I will not be true. I will not give my best out. At that point of time, the client is looking for a solution. I need to focus on the solution, right? I should not focus on the fact that I need this business. I'm desperate. I want that business. That is lifeline for me. That's a fact. But that anxiety should not ever drive the way I'm writing my PowerPoint or the way I'm making my presentation to the client. Because if that is the anxiety that comes in, so what is that? That is the result that I want. What is the result I want? I want that business at any cost. I have to land this particular client.
Right.
I have to get him to be a customer of mine. So there is a certain anxiety. My home fires are, creating a mess at this point of time. But what is my duty? My duty is to focus on the action. What is the action right now? Writing the presentation. What is the action right now? Making sure that that presentation is presented in a way that the client believes that, wow, this is the solution I want. Karmanyevadikaraste mafaleshu kadachana. 7,000 years ago, Krishna taught us this.
Yeah.
What is he saying? Perform that duty. Just get immersed in that action. All your thoughts, all your feelings should be about that particular action right now. Go write the best presentation that you can. Go make the best presentation that you can.
Right.
Go offer the best solution that the client would want at this point of time. You will get the business, right? Likewise, Lakshmi, there are so many interesting nuggets hidden in the Bhagavad Gita.
Sure.
There's another very, very interesting nugget on what we should be practicing in life. Krishna tells us about the various qualities that we need to be looking at. One quality that he starts off with, he says fearlessness, abhayam. And he ends it with another beautiful quality called na atimanita, which is humility. Just think about it. Fear. Fear is being scared, being worried. Naturally, everybody has fear, right? Everybody has some fear or the other. When I started sitting with this session with people, I had just a little bit of fear saying, will today be a day when I will be able to connect with you guys or I won't? So that fear is normal. Everybody has fear. Nobody on earth can have no fear, right? Fear is normal.
Yeah.
Fearless is perhaps to be bordering on the foolishness. Fearlessness is about having the confidence that, look, I know I'm walking, I'm going to trip and fall, but I have the confidence to get up and walk again. Right. That is fearlessness. So essential, to succeed in life. Just look at it from a student perspective. I mean, if you have a child or, if you know of a kid who's studying in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever, but they will trip. They will have a bad day in school. They will have a bad day in their exams. They will not do well. Just because the first paper did not go as I want, does it mean that I need to ruin the rest of the 5, 6, 7, 8 papers that I'm going to write? No.
Correct.
So you must have this abhayam, saying that, right, this didn't go well. Fair enough. Now I know I'm going to bounce back tomorrow. I know I'm going to bounce back day after tomorrow. That is fearlessness, abhayam. At the same time, you want na atimanita, which is humility, lack of self-conceit. What is that humility? Is to stick to the process. Is to go back and say, fine, let me go back and let me continue to do what I need to be doing every day. Like this, Lakshmi, I can quote n number of examples of how this beautiful philosophy that we have with us 7,000 years ago is still so valid today. And I use this, Lakshmi, on a day in and day out basis when I mentor startups, when I mentor SMSCs, when my company, when we talk to MSMEs, we talk to large organizations, any kind of organizations, anywhere in the world, and we teach them these timeless principles.
Sure. Wow. Thank you. What are some of the challenges you face? We've spoken about all the good things. I'm sure there were a lot of challenges along the way as you built this business. One typical challenge which I can think of, maybe I don't know if it was a challenge for you. At least way back in 2003, if you told somebody, this concept is based on Bhagavad Gita, first thing, if it has a westernized name to it, it would sell better. But, if you said Bhagavad Gita, uh, it didn't work in business perhaps. So, I mean, that's a challenge which I think you may have had, but I mean, were there any other, any challenges of this nature that you saw that
Yeah,
as
yeah.
you built
See, the
your
point,
practice?
Vipul, like any service, no? And this is again thanks to having spent time in the advertising marketing world. I knew one thing for sure. Initially you'll keep getting pushed around. No client is going to embrace you, Vipul, whether you say I'm a PR company, whether I'm an event company, whether I'm this, whatever be the service that you're going to offer in this world, whether you're a hospital, whether you're hospitality, it doesn't really matter. Any
Correct.
service, any new product, anything that you want to bring to the market, even if it's a new product that you want to bring, you want to bring a new restaurant, you want to bring a new vada pav, you want to do, something new in this world. Initially,
Correct.
you will get pushed around.
Yeah.
But you must have the resilience to stay the course.
Correct.
Because once they accept you, they can't have enough of you. Okay. So you will get pushed around. So I got pushed around. I mean, it took me 1 year to get my first client. I started in 2003. And, 1 whole year of, waiting for the phone to ring. It was, I mean, it was crazy. And I must tell you how I got my first customer. And this is that belief that comes within you, that you know what you're doing. I was fortunate. I had, my wife backed me to the hilt. My father and mother backed me to the hilt, and they said, just take off for a year. Don't worry, stay at home, be with us at home. We'll take care of everything, including, my dad was, great man, passed away. He said, look, I will even take care of your daughter's fees. Don't worry, you go and do this. Because if you don't do this, you'll never know whether it'll work or not. My first client, Vipul, was acquired. And this was a guy who was running a call center. So he would tell me that, look, my working hours are between 11 and 6 in the night, 11 in the night to 6 in the morning. So if you want to meet me, you need to meet me at 3 a.m. That's when I take a break.
Right.
I said, sure. Can you believe me, Vipul? For about 10 days, every day I'd finish dinner by 8, 8:39, sleep, set an alarm for 1 o'clock, get up, have a bath, get completely ready. Shirt, tie, jacket, the works, and call him at 2. Can I come and meet you? And he'd say, not today. I said, thank you very much. And go back to sleep. Then the next night, then the next night, then the next night, then the next night, then the next week. In the second or the third week, on day 12, he says, well, come now. I said, sure, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And he said, what? I said, yeah. So I drove from my house to a place called Koramangala at 2 o'clock in the morning. I reached there at 2:15 and he said, are you serious? I said, I am. I know that I'm going to do something that's going to help you and your people. He said, I've never seen such perseverance. If nothing else for this, I'll give you business. That was my first client.
Fantastic. What a story. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
And then, it was just all systems go.
Awesome. Okay, we'll take another question. This is from Rashi. The question is, can emotional, so it's a little different from what we've been discussing so far. So question is, can emotional mastery help with decision making in tough situations?
Absolutely.
Very conceptual question. Yeah.
Absolutely, Rashi. Again, Rashi, just to give you a context, we say there are 6, there is this downward spiral that you can get onto. What is this downward spiral? Very simple. It's called Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. Okay? Desire, unfulfilled desire. Desire is not bad. You need desire. I mean, Vipul and I have this desire to communicate with all of you, and that's why we're here. So there is nothing, desire itself is not wrong, but unfulfilled desire, uncontrolled desire is wrong. So that will lead, if there is an unfulfilled desire, or if there is a desire that is not backed by action, by appropriate action, it becomes an unfulfilled desire. That will lead you to krodha, which is anger. Okay? And therefore, once you get angry, you lose your mental balance.
Right.
That emotional, maturity that you talked about is something that goes out of the window. How can you take a decision at that point? That is when you get into lobha, which is greed. You want somehow or the other to do something and get you going. Where is your decision-making ability at that time? It goes out of the window because, when you're getting into that greed, you say, look, I don't care. I just want this at any cost. And then moha mada matsarya, jealousy, attachment. Okay? All of this start coming into play. That emotional stability, that mental resilience that you require is so critical for you to take a decision that you're going to live with. When you're into one of these 6 gateways of hell, as we call it, the point is that the decisions that you make, the decisions that you take are short-sighted. And when you take those short-sighted decisions, they will come to haunt you in the long run. I've always said that if you have to take a decision today, if you have an option, take the hard option. Because if you take the hard option, life will become easy. If you take the soft option, life will become hard. I repeat, if you take the hard option, life will become easy. If you take the soft option, life will become hard. So that emotional balance, that feeling, that well-being is so important. I'm often asked a question, Vipul, but life has not been good for me. It's been so many downs and downs and downs. Normally we say life is full of ups and downs, but I've had this continuous down. How can I take that decision right now?
Yeah.
And yes, that can happen to us in life. There are times when things just don't go right. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Your health can go wrong. Your family can be in trouble. Your family's health can be in trouble. So many things can go wrong in life.
Correct.
Right? And therefore, at that time, it's very difficult for you to pull back and say, no, I'm not going to allow this to affect me. It doesn't work that way, right? That is the time when I believe you should seek help. Go talk to someone who will give you unbiased advice, someone like a Vipul, who will give you an unbiased opinion, who will at least give you an unbiased hearing.
Right.
You get advice. Because remember one thing, asking for help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. I repeat, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is about the strongest man on earth, Arjuna. Strongest guy. Can you imagine Arjuna, Vipul? His training, Dronacharya, the best acharya in the world. The weapons that he had, the Gandiva, the bow, the chariot of Krishna, the chariot itself, these wheels were Adishesha. He had Hanuman sitting on, he had everything, no? From our modern context, people, here is an IIT, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Madras, IIM Ahmedabad, graduate who has done his management training in Hindustan Lever, who has, worked across the country, who has then moved on to a financial services company. He's like, boss, the pista of all pistas here.
Correct.
No. And then at a critical point of time in his life, his mind space becomes unstuck. And that is when he seeks answers and he asks questions. To whom? To his own friend, Krishna, to his brother-in-law, not Bhagwan, but to his friend. That's why he says in the Gita, he says, look, I'm sorry, I just called you, hey, Yadava. I mean, I treated you like a friend. I mean, I treated you with disdain so many times. So ask for help, because sometimes you may not even know what questions that you want to ask. That's the time when you can reach out to some of us. Okay? And you will be able to get, if nothing, a patient hearing. And sometimes that is what we want. We just want somebody like a Vipul to sit across the table and say, okay, talk here, I'm listening to you. I have no answers, I have no solutions. I don't want to give you solutions, but I can listen to you. And maybe just getting it off your chest will help.
Okay, so coming back to your business, I mean, if you can tell us your business model. I mean, you've told us the concept, you've told us what you do. How do you operate as an organization?
Fantastic. So Vipul, uh, when I wrote the Born to Win program, I was very clear at that point of time that we will operate through a system of associates. Okay. Today, we have more than 40 associates who work with us across the country.
Right.
So we have three categories of associates, Vipul. We have somebody called a referral associate, somebody who refers business to us. We have a marketing associate, somebody who markets the program for us. And we have somebody who's a facilitation associate, who actually goes and deploys the program at the client end. Okay. So we have these three types of associates who work with us. At the moment, we've got associates working with us in Chennai, in Bangalore, in Delhi, in Hyderabad, and Bombay, Ahmedabad. We're looking all the time to expand the associate base. So we need more associates in Bangalore. We need more associates in Hyderabad, in Ahmedabad, in Bombay, in Delhi, in Lucknow, in every part of the world, okay, in every part of the country. So it is these associates who actually go and interact with customers and work with them and figure out how we can deploy the program and how we can get the program across. We have a beautiful win-win agreement with the associates, because we also know that our associates need to be compensated very well. These are not employees, but these are people who are doing something on their own and become associates of ours. So Vipul can be a great associate of ours in Bombay. You're based there, you're doing a lot of work there, you've got a number of clients. So we're looking for people like you.
Like that.
Okay. We're already running very successful businesses, but would like to offer a service which is completely based on respectability, and will help your clients with your customers, will help strengthen the bonds that you have with your existing customers and clients. Okay. And give them an offering which will help them, which will help their organizations grow. So some of our associates are running very successful businesses. Like, for instance, in Delhi, we have somebody who's running a very, very successful travel agency, and yet they're associated with us.
Right.
We have somebody in Hyderabad who's a very senior project management consultant, and who's very keen to work along with us. So likewise, I mean, there are various people who are doing extremely well in life, okay, and who are also doing this because they want to win the process, and more importantly, they believe that the customers, their clients, benefit from want to win. That's the model that we work with.
And is there a franchise fee or something like that?
Yes, we have three franchisees: one in Bangalore, one in Chennai, and one in Delhi. Right. Once the business grows to a certain level, then yes, we will look for franchisees in Hyderabad. We will look for franchisees in Bombay, in Ahmedabad, in Kerala, in Calcutta. Some of these markets are very, very interesting, exciting markets. And even in places like Indore, great province right now, Madhya Pradesh, Jaipur, Rajasthan has a great amount of properties. So yes, we will look for franchisees too.
Okay, so coming to business networking now, I mean the actual business networking, which actually something that you and me both are part of. So you've been a networker, and you've been part of TIE, you've been part of BNI, you've been a Rotarian. So can you walk us through some of your networking experience as such?
Yeah, I think, being a very outward looking, gregarious kind of a guy, networking, I think, comes very naturally to me. You
Right.
know, I don't, you put me into a room full of strangers, and I'll no hesitation going and shaking hands with people and saying, "Hey, my name is Ram Seshu. I run Born to Win. Um, I'm in the mindset change, attitude transformation space. I help people help themselves. How can I help you?" Okay. I have no hesitation in going and talking to people across platforms, across different groups. I think the key to networking is that you need to know that the philosophy that we brought from advertising, it's all about our customer. It's not about us. It's not about our product. It's not about our service. It's about the customer. And the same philosophy that comes in, whether it is a BNI, whether it is a CII, whether it is an ASSOCHAM, an FKCCI, FICCI, any of these organizations that I'm involved with, Rotary, I think it's all about the other person.
Right.
So if you can go with that attitude into a room full of strangers to say, how can I help you? In what way can me, my experiences, my networks help you? One of the key things that I used to, we are members of BNI in the sense that I'm not actively involved with BNI right now, but
Yeah.
we have BNI memberships in Chennai, in Bangalore, in Delhi, where our people are members of BNI. And BNI is a great organization. I mean, fantastic organization that Dr. Ivan Weizmann set up. One of the things that I keep telling everybody that I meet is that all of us are part of 6 networks. When we talk networking, for instance, right now, if you were to ask me a simple question, people saying, can you connect me to? You're only looking at me from my client perspective, saying, okay, Ram Seshu is working with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients, and maybe, I can get into one of these clients and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's just one part of it. The business that I am in is one part of it, but there are so many other networks that I'm part of. And I'll tell you what these 6 are. The first network that I could be part of is my alumni network. I studied in Hyderabad, I studied in Bombay, I worked in Hyderabad, I worked in Bombay. I used to be part of organizations which are all India organizations. I'm based in Bangalore. I am a part of so many alumni networks. So that's the first network that I'm very powerful. So school, college, and now alumni has taken on a different meaning altogether. Okay. Could be a course that I did somewhere. It could be a program that I did somewhere. All of us are alumni of those networks. That's the first. The second network that I have very powerful is my family network. My cousins, my nephews, my nieces, my extended family, they're all over the world. And I have a family network which is and each one of us has a family network. However invested you are in your family or not, doesn't matter, but you've still got a family network.
Yeah.
The third network that you're part of is your professional network. You're part of BNI, you're part of CII, you're part of Young India, you're part of PRCI, etc., etc., etc. And that's another beautiful network that you're part of. The fourth network that you're part of is your social network. You're part of a social club, you're part of Rotary, you're part of, Roundtable. There are so many other, you're part of Car Gymkhana, you're part of, Otters Club, you're part of NSCI, you're part of Bombay Gym. There are so many of these social networks that we're part of.
Correct.
The next thing that we're part of is our RWAs. We're all part of a resident welfare, association, a group, a flat. There's so much of interest today around where I'm staying. You could be in Bandra, you could be staying on Carter Road where my sister stays, And there is this Carter Road, they formed a beautiful association to protect the mangroves opposite Carter Road. So there are people there that you could be networking with. And the sixth, in that order, people, is your business network, is the business that you do, right? Now, I'll tell you a simple example. I wanted to connect with a very, very senior scientific organization in Bangalore. That's highly cutting edge science, etc., etc., etc. When I was talking to one of the people in BNI, I realized something interesting. This is a person who loves teaching science to young children as a hobby. In terms of her business, she was doing, I forget what she was doing, but she was doing something completely, completely different. I think general insurance or something like that.
Yeah.
But she loved teaching students science, and she teach science. And every month, she would take a bunch of students to this scientific organization
That you wanted to wait.
as part of their own outreach.
Right.
So, when you're sitting with this person and talking, you need to find out, look, what all are you interested in life? What do you do other than this? Okay, you do this insurance business, great, but what else do you do in life? And she said, I love teaching science to students. Unfortunately, I couldn't become a science teacher because I never got those grades.
Right.
I said, oh, great. Then what do you do? And, one thing. She said, every month I go there. I said, lovely. Can I come with you? And she said, sure. But, it's going to be boring for you because I'm going to be talking science. I said, that's okay. So I went there. And that day happened to be the day when the director of that institute also happened to be in the same premises. And we got talking. Bingo. Now, on paper, here is this lady who's selling, I think, general insurance or something like that. And she's selling accident insurance and medical insurance and travel insurance. And I'm saying, that's not my business at all. So from a business networking perspective, absolutely no connects whatsoever from her for me. Super. And this is what I'm saying, that there are these six
networks that you have.
So can we actually invest people in talking? So when I used to do these one-to-ones, or even now when people come to do a one-to-one with me, I say, look, I don't want to know about your business. Forget your business. Tell me about these six. I'll tell you about these six. Who would you like to connect in these six? Tell me. So somebody came home the other day and they said, we are looking to connect with this orthopedic surgeon in Hyderabad. I said, bingo, I have a nephew of mine who's an orthopedic surgeon. Like that.
Super. So we'll take one question and we'll probably be one of the last questions, Ram, because I've already taken up a lot of your time.
No, take as much. I'm enjoying this conversation, Vipul. I have no constraint, but yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So this question is from Anand Sharma. His question is, what advice would you give someone who's new to mindfulness or conscious living?
First of all, mindfulness, conscious living, conscious entrepreneurship are buzzwords at this point of time, Anand. It's a simple thing that you need to look at. Mindfulness is what? If you go back to my own philosophical construct, Anand, right?
Anand, yeah.
There are these koshas that comprise me. The outermost kosha is the Annamaya kosha. Annamaya kosha is what interacts with the rest of the world. Right now, this Annamaya kosha is talking to you and talking to Vipul. It's interacting with this platform on Zoom, etc., etc. That's the Annamaya kosha. Within the Annamaya kosha is the Pranamaya kosha. Pranamaya kosha is nothing but your breath, the oxygen that you breathe, the way you take. I'm simplifying this, okay, just so that it's easy to understand. Beyond the Pranamaya kosha is the Manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha obviously is talking about the mind. Beyond the Manomaya kosha is the Vijnanamaya kosha. Okay, is the wisdom, is the power of discrimination, is the Viveka that we keep talking about. And seated right inside is the Anandamaya kosha. The Anandamaya kosha rests in your heart. Okay? And the heart I'm not saying, this pump that keeps beating in all of us. That's one heart that we know, but the heart of the matter, that's what we're talking about. A lot of time, we spend, Anand, on outside in. We think the Anandamaya Kosha is getting excited by what we are taking in from outside. So if you like eating a gulab jamun, or if you like hearing this podcast, or if you like, whatever you want to do, some song of Kishore Kumar or Arjit Singh or whatever it is that you want, that outside in is giving you ananda, happiness.
Correct.
But that is actually not right. It should be inside out. So if from your Anandamaya Kosha, you can spend some time with yourself, spend those 15, 20 minutes a day, 25 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, forget it. I mean, just spend 5 minutes. When you get up in the morning, just spend 5 minutes. What is it that gave me happiness yesterday? What am I grateful for today? Okay. Who am I grateful to for having helped me yesterday? Who are the people who are meeting me today that I'm grateful for? Well, this is conscious living. If you get conscious of that, then guess what you're doing? You're letting your Anandamaya Kosha drive your Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the wisdom that you want. Saying, today morning when I got up, I said, I went for my walk. I said, I'm so grateful to Vipul for having thought of me to bring on to this. I'm really grateful to this guy that he's taken time off. I'm grateful to Thinkly. I'm grateful to Tai for putting this program together. I'm so grateful. And this is from my Anandamaya Kosha. And therefore, the wisdom, the Vijnanamaya Kosha that got impacted there was very simple, saying, look, I will do whatever I need to do to draw on my thinking, my experiences, and making sure that I communicated properly with. The mind then said, I will shut everything down while I'm in this conversation for the next 1.5 hours with people. My breathing is completely relaxed at this point of time. I'm not anxious. I'm not allowing my Annamaya Kosha to get distracted. While there is a lot that is happening around me.
Yeah.
Today you're aware that we're having these mock drills.
Right.
All of that is going around. And I'm not allowing any of that to distract me. If you can spend that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes, go for a walk. Just pace up and down in your flat. Just go for a walk in a garden if you have one around you. Go for a walk on the terrace of your building. And when you're doing it, just start being conscious of what? Of the things that gave you happiness yesterday, of the things that you did yesterday that gave you happiness, the fantastic idli that you ate that made you feel very good, that reminded you of the idlis that you ate when you were a kid, the feeling of gratitude that you get on a daily basis. That I'm so grateful yesterday for so many people helping me. To the auto wala who dropped me off at home with a smile. To the guy who, the train driver who brought me back from Churchgate to Andheri. So many people are helping you put your life together. To the guy in the office who made a brilliant, good cup of tea and gave it to you, nice hot cup of tea that you had. So many things that you're grateful for. That is being conscious. To your family who give you unconditional love, your parents, okay, whether they're alive, they're not alive, it doesn't matter. But they've given you so much of love, your teachers who've given you unconditional love, taught you, your colleagues, your ex-colleagues.
Right.
Okay. I love our group early in the morning, Vipul, when all of you post good morning. It's so nice.
Yeah. True.
You remember so many beautiful memories from that group of shared journeys. It's just a good morning. It doesn't matter. Okay. So consciousness is what? Of being grateful, of being happy, of being fearlessness, of having humility. All of this, Anand, is what you can do in that 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And that is meditation. If you were to do this on a daily basis, then you will start being conscious of who you are, of your surroundings around you, what you want to do in life. Why do you want to do what you want to do in life? How do you want to do what you want to do in life? And that is when you start becoming mindful. Mindfulness is what? Three things, no? Why are you doing something? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? That's simple. So let it be inside out. If you can do that, everything but everything starts falling into place. And you've created this ecosystem, you've created this entire universe around you, which is conspiring to make you successful. What a great thought, no? That the whole
Fantastic.
universe is conspiring with me.
You know,
Make me happy.
actually, Ram, uh, almost every podcast that I have, the central theme is exactly this. And, when you mentioned the other day about Aham Brahmasmi, that kind of reminded me of that. So, can you elaborate on Aham Brahmasmi a bit? Because we've heard
Aham,
this.
Aham Brahmasmi.
It became famous, in a very different way actually.
Yes, yes,
When
yes.
I think in one of the OTT platforms, it became. But it's something that people have caught on, and if you can just elaborate on that.
Aham Brahmasmi is a Mahavakya. So there are these three principal Mahavakyas and there are these three minor Mahavakyas. Of course, there are some 64 Mahavakyas and stuff like that. But one of the most important Mahavakyas is Aham Brahmasmi.
Right.
But Aham Brahmasmi, in a very loose translation, means I am the Brahman. Who is Brahman? Brahman is the creator of the world. Okay. And Brahma is also the person not only who has created the world, but also when the world dissolves, it dissolves into the Brahma. Brahma is nothing but your consciousness. Okay. So I am conscious of what? Of my ability to create my own world. So Aham Brahmasmi means, very simply, according to me, I am the creator of my own world. Is this the external world? No, it is this world. Because it is this world, this feeling, thought, action that creates the external world. So Aham Brahmasmi means I am capable of creating my world here first. Once I've created my own world internally, then the external world just manifests around that.
Yeah.
If I want to create a world full of happiness, if I want to create a world full of joy, if I want to create a world full of unhappiness, if I want to create a world full of misery, if I want to create a world full of suffering, if I want to create a world full of excitement, if I want to create a world full of just being alive, just being so joyful, of being a lighthouse, of being sunshine, I have to do it, right? So I can either do this or I can do that. Both are in my control. So if this is joy and this is sadness, this is happiness and this is unhappiness. Sukha, dukkha. Jaya, jaya. Okay? Victory, defeat. Labha, labha. Gain, pain. I have to do it. So Aham Brahmasmi means I have the power to create this world that I want to create. Nobody but nobody, Vipul, has the power to create unhappiness in your life. Nobody has the power to create sadness in your life. Nobody has the power to create misery in your life unless you give them permission to do so. Right? So Aham Brahmasmi is all about I have the power to create my own life the way I want to lead my life. That is Aham Brahmasmi. I should be conscious of this because this is my life. This is my world. You know, Vipul, 9 months before you were born, the world will get to know that you're being born. There is a certainty about your birth. Every individual. There is zero certainty about when you're going to exit from this world. It can happen any point of time. So if the start date is fixed and the end date is unclear, then this period that you have in between the two, if you can live it in a way that you are in control of your life, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. I am the creator of what I want to do in my life. I want a life of happiness. I want a life of contentment. I want a life of joy. I want a life of satisfaction. I want a joy of life of giving. I want a life of being alive to the possibilities that are there. I can create it. That is Aham Brahmasmi.
On that fantastic note, Ram, thank you very much for the time, and really, really thankful for being so open about every answer that you gave with such clarity and such depth. It's truly amazing. I mean, I've learned a lot in the past, what, about 90 minutes that you
Wow, it's that
about.
long?
Yeah, it's actually that long. So
Wow,
thank you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you more often. And
please.
if you can, after this call, I'm going to be putting on the group, I'm going to be sharing your email ID, and so that anybody who wants to get in touch with you and would like to join you to take the born to win process ahead, they can be in touch with you and take it on from there. Thank you
Please. The
very
best way to
much.
connect with me, Vipul,
Is on
is
email?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Ramkumar Seshu. I'm available on LinkedIn. Please send me a message. Just do me a favor. Just say that you're part of the Thinkly podcast with people. That will help. And yeah, I mean, connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way. If there is any way that I can help any of the viewers of this podcast, if me or my colleagues at Born to Win can help, it would be a pleasure to you know listen to you, and if nothing else, give you a patient hearing. And in the process, if we can find some solutions, which I'm sure we can, because I think each one of you is a great person who's listening to this, who's taken the time out to listen to this. To you, Vipul,
Thank you.
very grateful. To Ganesh from Thinkly, who's hosting us today. Thank you very much. I'd like to end with a small prayer saying, whatever we do, Krishnarpanamastu, we are doing it for him. I am not the doer. I am just a mere instrument of Krishna's Krishnarpanamastu. Thank you.